If you're wondering, or, well, you probably aren't by now, but if you wondered why I decided to release 2 parts today, the short answer is that I just had to. I couldn't resist. I couldn't wait another single day to get this quote out there. If you thought that they made a damning quote in the last 15-minute segment, well, in this 15-minute segment, it gets so much better. Literally, I almost started just doing a tap dance while I was in the Judicial Committee. I couldn't believe that these people admit. I got him. I'm too worked up right now. We're gonna get to that in the last part of this commentary, but I got him good. I remember it's been just fun reliving all this. You know, I get frustrated, but when I'm hearing these parts now, I remember why I was on top of the world after I got done with my Judicial Committee. I mean, I was ecstatic. And I remember why now, because I got them just good. How could these people follow this organization with a straight face after having said some of the things that they've said and admitted to? The things that they had. Okay, anyway. We're continuing off, of course, from the last bit of recording where they say, I don't think that everything published by the Watchtower is without mistake. But then he adds, as an excuse, as an attempt to try and make this all better, to patch up that admittance, he says, we have watchtowers that discuss that. Really? 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 Where? What watchtower ever points out that the governing body makes mistakes? Isn't it moral? And even if they do, isn't it more often that we hear, well, they're inspired by God. They've been chosen by God. These are the representatives of Christ. So, theoretically, would any amount of mistake admittance wash over the fact that these people are at the same time claiming to represent Jesus? See, here's the thing. You can be a follower of Christ, as many Christians today claim to be, as I myself claim to. But if you claim to represent him, you can't make mistakes like that. When you say, my words are what Jesus has told me to say, you can't go off and make mistakes. It's just that simple. When you say, I'm a prophet for God, as Watchtower has outrightly, forthrightly said, we are prophets for Jehovah, you cannot, period, ever, end of story, make a mistake. It's that simple. And not to say that, and here's how I used to illustrate it, in the final days of me going as Jehovah's Witness. The elders, when they're leading the congregation, when they're teaching from the platform, they can't make a mistake, because that's when they claim they're speaking for God. But they're still imperfect men, as was Moses, as was Paul, as were all these Bible writers that, according to them and according to most Christians, never made a mistake in any of the scriptures, okay? But they still made mistakes. They still, made bad deals on their mortgages. I'm sure, the elders still wrecked their cars, and that's fine. We're not talking that these men have to be perfect in the same way that Jesus was. But when you are speaking for Christ, when you sit down and you write a publication and you say, this is God's word, no, you can't make a mistake. And that's not unreasonable when you're claiming inspiration. It's so simple. And speaking of inspiration, I bring out Johannes Grieber, who was their inspiration for the New World translation, mistranslation. they, when I brought out that he was a spiritist, not only did they not deny he was used in the translating of the New World Translation, but they didn't deny that God used him. Now, if you walked into a Kingdom Hall with a Ouija board, you would be kicked out on your ass in a second. If you started proclaiming that you wanted to do tarot card readings, you would be thrown out on your ass. And that's not entirely unreasonable, okay? Even from, you know, your standard run-of-the-mill Christianity, that's not, you know, amazing for the witnesses to expect that. You would find similar reactions in other denominations. But when I asked if they felt that this spiritist was inspired by God, they never denied it. They never said no. But if somebody today was surrounding themselves with spiritistic paraphernalia and claimed to be speaking with spirits, if they claim to be a medium, and yet they claim to be inspired of God, Jehovah's Witnesses would shun them in an instant. But when I brought to their attention that a spiritist was instrumental in their translation, do you think that they shunned him? No. No. I dare say they probably embraced him. What does that say about the veracity of the organization? An organization that embraces spiritists in the translation of their Bible? Are you kidding me? Oh, God. And I love this. I just flipped the elder upside down with this. I don't think he expected it. He tried invalidating the Watchtower, saying, well, you're using Watchtowers that are sometimes 40 years old. How could you do that? Well, okay, for all of the Watchtower's history, they've claimed to be inspired, so theoretically, all of it should be inspired. If they're claiming to be inspired, if their organization since 1914, or 1919 rather, has been chosen by God, according to them, then why would their old teachings be any better or any worse than their new teachings? You would think that God has endorsed it all, but aside from that, I brought out that all of it can be found on the Watchtower Library CD-ROM. And I point blank asked the elder, I said, okay, so the governing body, your governing body, asserts that this is appropriate spiritual food. Are you now saying something contrary to that? Are you saying that somehow this is not appropriate spiritual food when your governing body has made it available? Accessible? He didn't have a reasonable response to that, and I wouldn't really expect him to. And it just gets worse. It just gets worse for them. It just gets so much worse. I couldn't believe when they said that. They really think that they're going to fool me. Not only fool me, but fool everybody into believing this crock. They said, I'm still reeling over this. They said, a person who takes blood today, well, that does not necessarily mean that they will be disfellowshipped. It's not necessarily a disfellowshipping offense. Oh, brother. Is that why they send the hospital liaison committee to bully parents? You know, I mean, the mob committee. Yeah, how dare you do it? You know, you better not get a blood transfusion. This coming from straight from the society. Yous better not do it, yo. Because we's be's part of the hospital liaison committee from Italy. They're trying to bully people into not getting blood transfusions. And we all know what happens to the people that do. It's one of the witnesses' unforgivable sins, and here they try and, well, that's not necessarily a disfellowshipping offense. No. Who the hell do they think they're talking to? Seriously. I don't understand. They have such a low opinion of people's IQs. They're used to people bowing before their supposed superiority. And here in struts what they keep referring to me as a 19-year-old kid. Herein struts a 19-year-old kid that's flipping them on their ass. And this is the defense that they provide. A person who takes blood, well, that's not necessarily a disfellowshipping offense. You got, oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. And it gets worse. It gets worse. That's not bad enough. No. Not by Watchtower standards. They have to lie even more. They have to just show that they are the most despicable, scumbag, corrupt bastards on the face of planet Earth. Because I bring out to them the old organ transplant teaching. The old organ transplant teaching, wherein it was outlined as a disfellowshipping offense, and it was told to the Christian congregation that it had a scriptural basis in cannibalism. And that teaching was kept for 13 years. Now, of course, blood guilt is a very serious thing to Jehovah's Witnesses. It doesn't matter whether the Pope ever fired a single shot in World War I or World War II, or it doesn't matter if the Pope burned a single person in the Inquisition. Does not matter, because it was condoned by the Catholic Church. It was done based off of Catholic Church teachings, and so therefore that makes the entire organization up to date blood guilty for what happened thousands of years ago, or even hundreds of years ago, decades ago. Still makes the organization blood guilty. That's their teaching. That's the way they conceive of blood guilt. Now here I present them with Watchtower blood guilt. I ask them if it's conceivable that somebody died. They didn't deny it, but worse, their response was, so what if they did? So what if the person died? What's it matter, huh? If they thought they were doing God's will, what's it matter, huh? Yeah. What does it matter if they died, according to this false teaching? Yeah, well, I'm glad to know that the elders care. The next time somebody in your family, Jehovah's Witnesses, dies because they did not receive blood, well, I guess the elders just don't care. Nobody, if Jehovah's Witnesses follow the same mindset, really cares whether your relatives die or not. How does that strike you as the most loving organization on planet Earth today? Does that sound like something the most loving organization would ever say? But worse than that, again, it gets worse. It all culminates into this single defining moment, I dare say, in this portion of the Judicial Committee, where Brother Trinkle fucks up, and in a big way. When I asked him if it was conceivable that the governing body was blood guilty, whether they were held accountable for this false teaching that they say was not based in the Bible according to their own literature, his response was, they are accountable. All the lies, all the cover-ups, all the half-truths, all the topic changes, they all now arrive at their final conclusion. Well, not the final conclusion. We still have more parts to come, but they are accountable. He said it. Now he tries to cover it up from there on, but it doesn't matter. In answer to the question, he admitted that the society is blood guilty. And I'm here to tell you today, if you are a thinking, rational, reasonable human being, and you've made it this far into the Judicial Committee because you know deep down inside that something is wrong with the organization, the reason why this elder said that is because there's no other answer to the question. The organization is blood guilty.